Are we doing this as a cold open?
Dude, what is
Sounds
a cold
like
open? I think what you just did was the cold open. Here we go.
Here we go. Welcome back to Buzzcast, the podcast about all things podcasting from the people at Buzzsprout. Kevin, we have you back on the show. It's been a hot minute.
How many episodes did I miss?
I don't really know because for everybody who's a listener, we batch recorded a few of our quick casts,
Right.
Yeah.
and we've been using them. And so I'm not really sure. You've missed one or two, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I've been out of the office for a couple weeks, but I don't know what that translates into in Buzzcast time since we did the batching.
Podcast years.
Yeah.
And we might even have another batched episode of the quick cast left because last week I'm like, Jordan, can we get this episode out today? And she's like, sure.
Yeah.
And we did the episode and we launched a few things. So
Yeah.
Kevin, Spotify, YouTube for video podcasters is out and live for everybody.
I know, which is, I think it's great that you launched that without me. Historically, I've been a bit of a, Debbie Downer when it comes to Spotify and YouTube. And so I leave for a couple weeks and you guys are like, here we go. Let's put it all out on all the platforms
Going
Kevin doesn't
all
love.
in.
Right.
I think the Spotify, I mean, everybody knows, I think we've already said this before. It was ready and it was out there for like a month, but it was one of those things that it just is not a good setup at like 90% done. And we were seeing all these weird edge cases and we are like, it's got to be like rock solid or else we don't want to tell everybody about it. So it was in beta for quite a while. YouTube, they've had this OAuth flow. They've locked that thing up. They've probably had that for 10 years for all sorts of different editing apps to upload video. And so
Right.
that was much simpler to do. But now it feels really good. You upload one file and you distribute it everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's a great update. I think so helpful for people, especially video creators who had to log into Spotify and then replace their audio episode with a video episode and then always going through the YouTube workflow. If you are a video creator, you're probably very used to all these hoops to jump through. But if you're an audio person and you're just stepping into video like we are on Buzzcast, it just felt burdensome, right? To have to
Yeah.
add these two other logins and upload processes to our workflow. And so now being able to step into the video world without having a whole bunch of other steps that we have to jump through to publish, it's very nice.
But the more that we work with the platforms, I think we are going to see the moments where the ethos of podcasting and the ethos of RSS does like rub up against it the wrong way. And we've got a good story about Spotify later where Spotify's building stuff that podcasters don't like. But you know who actually Buzzsprout and RSS really aligns with are companies like WordPress. And Kevin, we got you
Yes.
on here. You weren't planning to be on the episode, but you launched a big update for WordPress. And so we wanted to get you on the episode to talk about it.
Yes. So we've always, for how many years? Like 10 years, maybe more. We've had a really nice, a very simple, but very nice WordPress plugin. And this is for people who self-host a WordPress site, not for people who use WordPress.com. But if you self-host your own WordPress site, there's been an official Buzzsprout plugin for years and years, and it allowed you to very simply drop in a Buzzsprout embed player without having to hop over to your Buzzsprout account, copy the embed code, flip back to WordPress, paste it in. And the WordPress experience itself has gone through a series of transitions over the past couple of years as they've gone from like a very code, like having to know HTML code and CSS and stuff, environment to now they call it, everything is done in blocks, right?
Mhm.
And so we needed to update our WordPress editor so it worked with where they finally landed. I think originally the WordPress stuff started as like a plugin and it was very experimental. And now it moved to like official WordPress editing. So anybody who's been using WordPress for a while knows this. Over the past couple of years, it's become official. And so we wanted to update our plugin to work with the latest official WordPress publishing workflows. And so I jumped in and made some updates to our plugin to support all of their new functionality and added a few little niceties while I was in there. Like if you have an older episode that is not one of your most recent ones and you're writing a blog post and you're like, oh, I actually want to embed an old episode. Now you can search right within the plugin and find old episodes quickly without having to scroll down through a very long list.
Oh, that's nice.
If you're updating your homepage, for example, and you always want your most recent episode just to show up on top, there's an option just to drop in always the most recent. That'll dynamically update every time you publish.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's great things. And I think the last little thing that I did was if you want to embed like the multi-episode podcast player, which is like the bigger player that lists other episodes below it, you can do that. And you can say only include episodes with these tags. So like if we tagged a bunch of episodes with, I don't know, episodes where we talk about Apple, episodes where we talk about Spotify, episodes where we talk about YouTube,
Right.
then you could put those episodes in their own little playlists without having to jump over to Buzzsprout to grab the code to do that.
And Kevin, this is outside of your project, but we do support WordPress.com hosting now. So we made an update to the embed player, and the way it works is you can embed episodes on WordPress.com. That was something that I think we've had people request since I was doing customer support 12 years ago or something. People would write in and we'd say, we're trying to get approved by WordPress, and they created a path. So it's kind of a little bonus that we got in there. But if you're on WordPress.com, you can go ahead and use that as well.
I love it. So full WordPress support now from Buzzsprout.
And also, we recently launched one-click submission for iHeart as well.
I went through all their directory listings on Buzzsprout, and we were shocked at how many people were in tons of directories, but not in iHeart.
Yeah.
And when we looked into it, we were like, oh, most of these audio listings are one click. We've added it over the years. You can just click it, submit, click, submit, click, submit. Not too hard. And iHeart was one of the few exceptions. And I reached out to somebody at iHeart and they go, we've actually got one click submission that exists. I just think we never connected with Buzzsprout. And so pretty quick update. But for everybody who's not in a few of the directories, this has gotten a ton easier. So you can hop in and you can go in any directories that you have not submitted to before. You can just go and you can submit them. They're all really easy. And iHeart in particular is one that got a ton easier the last few days.
I'm wondering, where do most people like use the iHeart? I know it's an app. Like I can download the iHeart app onto my phone, but I think it's also very popular in a lot of cars. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it gets built into cars. Obviously, they have an app. They are radio. I mean, most radio stations are iHeart stations.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, they just think iHeart is just audio content. And if you listen to their CEO and you listen to the iHeart team, they are all in on RSS, open podcasting, very much aligned with like the Buzzsprout brand and indie podcasting as a whole. So if you're not listed in iHeart, I would absolutely recommend people to go and submit. You're looking at something like, I don't know, 1% of all podcast plays are through iHeart. But that is, you go and you do one click, you're in iHeart, and now you're going to get on average 1% more plays for the duration of your podcast. I'd click like 40 times if I could get that option.
Okay, so there is a story that broke out from James Cridland at Pod News, and it's been swirling around the internet. And I've been seeing a few people saying that it may be the end of podcasting. Do you have any guesses who the company is that this is surrounding?
That sounds like clickbait.
It's definitely clickbait, but Kevin, we invited you on the episode because it's Spotify.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, we have survived multiple waves of the end of podcasting.
Yes.
Oh, at least 5 or 6.
Right.
It's like the whole like Mayan calendar thing of like 2012. Like it's just the sky's falling and it's actually not. Yeah. So Spotify added a skip ahead button that will bypass an entire like ad read or even like a cluster of ad reads, and it'll skip sponsorships, like host read sponsorships, but it's also skipping intros and podcasters like call to actions, such as like their listener support and stuff like that. So yikes.
All right. First gut response. That sounds great.
That's what a lot of listeners are saying. That's the funny thing. I'm seeing like a huge divide because a lot of listeners are like, this is awesome. I don't have to like punch the skip button every like 2 seconds. But when I saw this on Pod News, it was like literally the entire newsletter for Pod News was about like Spotify is just ruining everything. And I was like, that sounds really dramatic. And so I went into Spotify and I looked up my podcast, and sure enough, I had the option to try the skip ahead button on my own podcast, and it literally skipped my theme song. It skipped my welcome to the episode, my housekeeping items, along with every call to action I had, and just went straight into the story. And then after that, I have literally nothing else. And I was like, oh, actually, that stings.
All right. I've got like 6 different takes that I want to get out on this. But first one, it feels a bit unfair that every time Spotify copies YouTube, that everyone's like, what has Spotify done? What have they done to us? And they're the worst. And you're like, but this has been on YouTube forever. We didn't lose our minds over YouTube. On YouTube Premium, they will detect where people skip, and it will just, if it sees a high percentage of people skip this part of the episode, it just pops up, skip ahead, and I click it and it skips ahead.
Oh,
and
okay.
Just think of it as, this is the most boring part of the video. And so YouTube says, I don't even care if it's an ad or it's just a long explanation. We're just going to let you skip ahead. And then Spotify adds it, and everyone, at least in the industry, I know why we're all mad, because we're like, as an industry, we sell ads. And so we really want those ads to continue to be effective. And so we don't really want people to skip them. And we've built this whole ad industry in podcasting around, hey, people don't really skip these ads. And then Spotify goes, yeah, but they probably should. They add the feature. And now we're all like, oh no, maybe that promise isn't going to be true long term. I saw Tommy Vitor, who's a host of Pod Save America, really big podcast, tweeted, very cool of Spotify to try and destroy the podcast industry. What a great partner. So he's right on board on this, is destroying all of podcasting.
All right, let me jump in, because I have some thoughts. Like, I don't think, generally speaking, I don't think YouTube cares what you're watching, as long as you're watching something on YouTube. As a blanket statement, we can probably all agree to that. Obviously, there's exceptions. They don't want you, doing, terror activities or watching stuff that's illegal and all that other kind of stuff. Right, yeah. But generally speaking, as long as you're watching something on YouTube, they're happy, right? And so they're trying to build tools, and Spotify, likewise, is trying to build tools to keep people watching content on these platforms, right? And so the idea of, a lot of people are skipping this content, let's make it easier for more people to skip that content so that the overall watching and listening experience is more enjoyable, then it leads to longer sessions, makes a lot of sense. I mean, it reminds me a lot of, remember when the first TiVo came out, the first DVR?
Yeah.
There was TiVo, there's Replay TV. And I jumped in, early adopter, bought a TiVo, and loved the fact that I don't have to watch live TV anymore. I can watch time-shifted TV, and I can fast forward through all the commercials. That was fantastic. And then Replay TV comes out, and they have skip commercial button. And TiVo didn't have it, because TiVo was afraid they were going to get sued. Sure enough, somebody did sue Replay TV. I don't remember what happened. They might have had to pull that feature and just go back to a regular fast forward or whatever. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead too far too quick. I actually think the death of podcasting could be the opposite of this. Like, I'm more afraid when apps start doing the inverse, which is, we know this is an ad, or we know this is a commercial or a sponsor read, and we're not going to let you hit the fast forward button anymore. I think that's actually more detrimental to everybody in the ecosystem, which is because it makes the watching or listening experience more painful for people. So then more people will stop watching or listening or engaging or seeking out podcast content, because they'll be like, every time I find a show that I like, it's filled with these ads, and I can't fast forward the ads, and it's annoying. And like, we are very much used to now, when you're watching TV or you're watching something on the internet, or even if you're going to a movie or something like that, and you don't want to watch all the previews or the different Coca-Cola ads in the beginning, you just go 10 minutes late. Like, we're adapting as a society to learn how to get around stuff that we don't like.
Yeah.
And so I think I would be much more concerned if they went the other direction, in which podcast creators would be like, yay, finally, we're going to get more ad revenue. But I don't think you would. I think you'd get less, because I think you'd have less people engaging with your content.
To be clear, Kevin, that's what YouTube is doing and Spotify's not doing. YouTube says, hey, you want to skip the boring part of this person's video where they sold a sponsorship themselves? Go ahead and skip it. But what's not skippable is the YouTube ads themselves.
Yeah, but they're offering you a way around that, right? Which is buy YouTube Premium.
Yes. So they say you can pay YouTube one of two ways. You can pay for premium, or you can pay us by we force you to watch the ads.
Right.
Now, over on Spotify, I think a lot of the reason that the industry, the Tommy Vitors and of the world are angry is because they're like, my ad revenue is gone. I'm selling ads and, it's another ZipRecruiter ad and that was going to make me enough money for whatever I wanted.
Yep.
Spotify is trying to sell Spotify Premium. And so all the listeners are like, what the heck's going on? I pay for Spotify Premium. I'm on the top plan. And now I jump in and I'm hearing ads. In their mind, I should not be hearing ads. And if you go look at this tweet, it's like dozens of people going like, yeah, I hate all the ads. Why do I have to listen to ads if I pay for it? It's because this needs to be, I think, tied to some sort of ad sharing model between Spotify back to the content creators. And I'm not sure if that's going to be, it's feasible for them to add a full YouTube style. Anybody can get into the YouTube partner program or the ad program, whatever they call it. But I think there's a misaligned interest here. Tommy Vietor wants to put as many ads as are feasible. And Spotify's like, we actually want to take them out because everyone's kind of mad because they're paying us twice.
It was kind of funny. There's a response to that tweet and it says, I skip through every single ad where you guys do. Magic Spoon, Lumi, Aura, BetterHelp, Helix, Bombas, The Tree Shippers, ZipRecruiter, etc. Skip. And I thought that was so funny because I was like, but you remember them.
Yeah. I think that came originally from a guy at Red Circle. It was like, that's incredible recognition of all these brands for somebody who claims to skip them all.
Yeah.
Which is good proof. These are good ads.
Yeah.
But let me take you back to the longest standing argument we've had on this podcast, which is audio versus video. The place that these ads are going to get skipped is on the video version, because the video version is where you're watching the screen and all of a sudden this button pops up that says skip ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And so you click it because it's right there in front of you. And it's like, your thumb taps it automatically. But when I'm mowing the lawn and I've got my hands on the lawnmower and I'm listening and another, Helix Bombas ad comes up. I think those are separate, actually. A Helix Sleep comes up. I just listen to it and I go, no big deal. It's 30 seconds and it's over. And I don't even consider I should skip ahead. It's just another reminder of a few of these themes. One, our interests are always misaligned with the big platforms. That's okay. But we kind of know that's the case. And audio is going to always have better playthrough data and better ad listening because you're much less likely to skip when your hands are busy doing something else.
Yeah. And it doesn't show up on the lock screen. It's only when the Spotify app is up too. So you have to be actively looking at the screen for that skip button to show up.
Yeah. Right.
Anytime I'm watching video content, it is so easy to get me to, it's a little bit of a FOMO feeling. Like I am so easily bored while I'm watching video content. And I think it's because I am bored. That's why I'm watching video content. We're going out for family dinner at 6 o'clock. And so I'm sit on the couch at 6 o'clock because if our dinner's at 6, that means we don't actually leave at 6:30 because nobody's ready. But I'm ready. So I sit there and I look at my phone and I am now bored. And so maybe I open up Instagram or maybe I open up YouTube or something. I'm just like, I am bored. Show me something, but I'm bored. And so if you got to an ad, like I'm going through it or I'm skipping to the next video or something like that, I am not bored when I'm listening to audio podcasts. I'm doing something else, but it's not taking my full attention and I've got space for something else. And so that was a great example you gave, Alvin, like mowing the lawn. I'm not getting my phone out. My hands are sweaty. Everything's like, I'll listen to it. It's totally fine. I'm not bored. I'm not looking. I don't feel like I'm missing out on something more engaging or better content or whatever. I just want to listen to something instead of this loud grinding gears of a lawnmower. Or I'm walking my dog. It's beautiful out. I'm enjoying the weather. Not really in Florida right now, but I can do something else. Like I can't have a conversation with my dog. I know some people can. I haven't learned that. So I want to listen to something while I'm doing that. Or I'm at the gym and I'm on the treadmill and I need something to pass the time. And if I can engage my mind, like it helps. I don't need to skip every ad. But I'm not bored. And so I'm not like feeling like I'm missing a better video right behind this one, right?
That was a wild train ride, Kevin. We went through, I'm sitting there waiting for the whole family. I'm sitting on the couch. What's going on here? I can't have a conversation with the dog and I'm mad about video. main points all landed, but
right.
I was locked in.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But it's funny that you say that because James had like cited a bumper study where they said that people say that they skip more than they actually do, because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm always skipping the ads. I'm skipping the ads. But it said that fewer than 10% of the ad breaks that Bumper had measured were actually skipped, which is, that's nothing. But YouTube videos, I'd be interested to see, like, I'm sure that's way higher.
Oh, I'm sure it is. We have a note in here, Jordan, where you said there's conflicting reporting about whether or not the Spotify ads are skippable. And I went and researched that and I have an answer for you. So this feature shows up whether or not it's Jordan's podcast and she sourced the ad herself, or if it's a Megaphone podcast and Megaphone sourced the ads. I really think this is coming from, hey, a lot of people are skipping these sections. Maybe we should let people skip these sections, not coming from a, anti-competitive side where they're like, oh, we're going to block everyone else's ads and only serve our own. Really, if I kind of look at it, I'm like, I feel like they're kind of doing the same thing YouTube is in a little bit nicer of a way. And again, it's audio first. Spotify is audio first, even though they offer a lot of video now. They're an audio first company and app. And I just think way fewer people are really going to skip ahead. I think the number, maybe we see the buffer number moves from 10% of ads get skipped to 12% or something. I don't think this is a massive change. And I don't know. It's not killing the podcast industry. I think that the guy's still going to remember the ZipRecruiter and the Helix ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with that stuff is repetition, right? Most of these ads start off with the Casper mattress, like it's the best night's sleep I ever had. And you hear that before you even have an opportunity to skip if you are in a, skipping mode.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hear that week after week after week because you watch the show or listen to the show every week, you're just getting that like brand name dropped into your memory over and over again. I shouldn't say this, but it's like I actually would never even use Rocket Mortgage because I'm so annoyed at how many Rocket Mortgage ads I hear. Like at a certain point, it becomes like an anti-ad, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm just so annoyed by it.
So years ago, I'm in law school and one of my friends he was an undergrad and he got a job at Geico and he was doing ad creative. And I remember being like, why do you want to go do ads for Geico? Like those are the worst ads. And he goes, the worst ads? What are you talking about? And I'm like, the dumb gecko and the caveman and this. And I'm like naming every one of the bad ads I could remember. And he goes, Albin, before we started doing those, Geico was known and considered by less than like 7% of the insurance market. Nobody knew who we were and nobody ever considered Geico. He goes, now it's like 98% know who we are and 70% are considering. These are made up numbers by me, but the number was a 10x increase. He goes, I'm not trying to convince you we're writing great ads. I'm trying to get when people make that once every 4-year decision to sign up for insurance, that at least Geico is considered. And I went, oh, I'd assumed this whole time it was like Nike, where you're trying to show me LeBron James and Jordan, and you're showing me these great athletes. And I'm like, Nike is cool. Nike is good because the best athletes use Nike. No, Geico is just in the, hey, you've heard of us, right? Awesome. I'm just trying to make sure. So some of these, the Rocket Mortgages, they're probably just in the, hey, you're going to pick us if we can get you a slightly better rate. And I just want you to go to the website one time during that picking a mortgage process.
Right.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is I didn't realize that the like skip analytics were how they were determining where to place these skip ahead buttons. Like that didn't occur to me. For some reason, I thought in my mind that they're based on transcripts, which sounds like a lot more difficult.
I technically don't know for Spotify. I do know for YouTube that you can see that retention curve. They show it on YouTube and you can see it's as soon as that curve spikes that they go, hey, you probably want to skip ahead because everybody else is.
Well, I think if that is the case, which I kind of hope it is, because that would be great, honestly. I think it could incentivize more podcasters to get creative about how they work in their call to actions, how they work in their brand mentions into the podcast so that it's a little bit more organic and not just like immediately skippable. So it's not like this like ad break. there's plenty of ways to creatively work things in or mention things. So if you mention like, I have listener support set up, if you go to this like website and you can go here. Anyway, last week we did a bonus episode about this. Like if you just work it into the conversation enough, then that actually kind of works as a call to action in itself.
And this is exactly, Jordan, you just reinvented what TV shows did during TiVo. So when TiVo was at its height, the biggest show on TV was Lost. And I remember when we would watch on TiVo, they started putting fake pieces of Lost into the commercials or in the middle of the commercials.
Yeah.
So you'd be skipping ahead and all of a sudden you'd see the smoke monster like run across the screen. You go, oh my gosh, you just skipped ahead. Go back. And you go back and you watch the end of the Burger King commercial. And then it's like 3 seconds of smoke monster. And you went, they got us. And then you're skipping ahead the new commercials. But they made you watch just a little bit of the more of the commercials. And I think the best ad will always be, the Bill Burr, Sherry's Berries type ad, that it's content. And Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, very good at this. And there's lots of shows. Like, make the ads somewhat enjoyable so people not only listen to them, but they also associate them with you, the podcaster.
And another, I know we shout out Pod News all the time, but another shout out to Pod News because we sponsor that show. And I was just listening a couple weeks ago and they were talking about, I don't know, I think Sam was actually talking about how he does support for his True Fans app. And James, just being a great partner for us, said, and if you want to learn how to do good support for your apps or your products, you should check out Happy to Help. We never asked him to do that. He just knows, he takes an interest in what our company does and the content that we produce and just wove it right into a very natural point of a conversation that they were having. That is so much more valuable than them taking 30 seconds out of the show to do some ad read that, we sent them.
Right. Mm-hmm. It would be totally inauthentic and it would be a total off the wall 30 seconds. And everybody would go, roll my eyes. I want to skip ahead.
Right.
Yeah. It's much, much healthier that way.
This is kind of fun. We're going back to our roots, like our Buzzcast roots of like just covering random like current events and like working into the episode.
Kevin leaves for a few months and then we bring him back to his least favorite topics. We're like, hey man, we're talking about current events. Yeah. We're talking about AI regulations and we're talking about Spotify ads.
See how tan I am? I'm not reading the news. I'm not stressed out.
You're sitting on the couch waiting for your kids.
That's right.
Well, I think a lot of people have been stressed out about this act. And I mean, there is an article within the act that just came into play and it directly influences podcasters. So that's why people are like actually paying attention to it now.
Okay. So what do we have?
Well, basically the European Union is asking people to put some sort of like AI disclosure on their podcast if AI is used in the podcast. And this is like content creation. It's for like social media posts. It's for like everything. And something that I do want to be clear about is that it's not podcasting in like a personal sense. So if like you're a hobbyist podcaster and you're getting like 25 downloads and you aren't making money from your podcast, this doesn't apply to you. It's going to be most likely for podcasts that are commercial, in that they're, making money from their sponsorships and they are actually generating revenue from their podcast.
Yeah. So I was joking a bit before. I did read this article. I do think it's interesting. And I think it's like the first of many new regulations that we're going to see around AI generated content. It is getting harder and harder to differentiate between like real people talking and even if you're watching video, like what a real person looks like. I know this because I'm getting more and more videos sent to me from my mom. She's like, look at this. Somebody trained a golden retriever to do backflips into an Olympic pool. Check this out.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah. So right now, the elderly are mostly being fooled. But soon, my generation will be being fooled. And then sooner or later, the kids will be being fooled. And so it's the first of many, I think is the point I'm making. And I'm not totally against it. Like generally, I'm not a regulation advocate, but in this sense, it's very easy to create information that could be dangerous and have some consequences. So it's good to start thinking this stuff through. I like the idea that they're just like, just put a disclaimer. Just say this isn't actually, a human being who's sharing their thoughts and opinions. It is a computer generated AI bot thing. And those are the thoughts and opinions that you're seeing. And now you can do with that what you want. Like, I think it's a fine place to start. I don't think it's a big ask. I do think my reading of this article was that they actually want it in the content itself. Like, you can maybe put it in like the description of your episode, but they actually want the content itself had to have a disclaimer on it.
Yeah.
And I don't think most serious creators like have to worry about this right now. But content that is like foolable, like it could fool people, it could trick people, it could scare people, it could cause a bunch of unnecessary videos being shared with you from your parents. Let's just go ahead and let them know that it's not real so they don't have to share it.
So I was dropping my daughter off at school today, and on my way back, I was listening to the radio, and they were doing like a news segment thing, and they were talking about how there was this guy who was 38 years old, and he saw a social media post that was like a deep fake of like a news anchor, and they were saying that there were these capsules that were buried in the front yard by the government for like any house built after like 2005, and so you needed to like dig them up because they were like gonna come get them. I don't know. It was something like that. And so he dug a 14-foot hole in his front yard and then he hit like a water main line and then it flooded the whole street and the neighbors were all upset because he couldn't differentiate this like AI thing. And I told Albin, oh, I heard this crazy story. And I was like, but I can't find it anywhere. And so now I'm wondering if that story was AI, like totally faked. And then they're talking about it on the news and I'm like, I just don't know.
I think this story is really only going to matter for companies like Inception Point AI, the one that had like, they had like 5,000 episodes across 3,000 podcasts and they were publishing nonstop because it was AI content that was trying to be professional and it wasn't trying to be fake news. It was trying to be, we are creating timely content faster than anybody could actually create a podcast. So something happens in the news, we create a whole documentary series about it and we publish it that same day so that we skyrocket in the charts and we get a bunch of ad reads. And this EU regulation, it's like, we're not trying to worry about people who are running stuff through Magic Mastering and cleaning up EQ. You know, it's using a computer, it's using algorithms, but it's not AI as defined here. It's not AI that you used ChatGPT to come up with your script. This is like you're using a fake voice from 11 Labs, a cloned voice or synthetic ad read. You changed what Jordan said. Maybe you used something in Descript that does that. A human didn't even look at it, kind of like the Inception Point. It has to be in this type of content that is really AI created, but it also now has to be somebody who's not trying to lie to you, because they have to actually put in there, hey, by the way, AI made this. It's like the law is not going to make it do anything if the law is, hey, every time you lie to someone, you have to tell them you're lying. Like is not going to get used. So I think the only people that this really applies for are people who are kind of like holding themselves to a very high standard. Jordan heard that I misspoke, and so she changed one word. And so she goes, okay, I used AI to clean up when Albin misspoke. I think that somebody like Inception Point is going to have to put this in there because their advertisers will throw a fit and the EU eventually will say, look, we see you've got 40,000 episodes out there and you're not disclosing it as AI. It needs to be. But for the person who's doing a joke and they're like, oh, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell everyone there's a capsule in the front yard like Jordan's guy heard about. Well, they're not going to say, by the way, this is AI. They're going to go, that's the whole joke, is that now the guy's going to dig the 14-foot hole. That's the goal. You know, if it's saying some celebrity is actually a lizard, that's the goal. So they're not going to tell you. I don't know. Like, it's not a bad idea, but it's like we're making a law to stop the people who are already trying to break the law.
Yeah. And as I'm thinking through this, like, just to be clear, my perception, I don't live in the EU. So that disclaimer aside, I do feel like they're more sort of like leading edge with regulations like this. We have some states in the United States that are the same way. California is one. Like, they were the first to do, they're more aggressive on gun control, more aggressive on like environmental policies and stuff like that. And they sort of test out these ideas. And the rest of the United States says like, well, how does it work out after a few years? Is it good or is it bad? And if it's good, then more states adopt these things. And if it doesn't work out that well, it doesn't go as far. And that's kind of my perception of how the EU does this. So like from that perspective, I'm kind of fine with the EU like trying it. But like personally, I would rather see the platforms handle this. Like I would rather see YouTube make their rules around this and they decide what they're going to do and live with the consequences and like let the market help you figure out what are the right calls and what are the wrong calls. I would much prefer that instead of regulation.
Very American of you.
Yeah. But at the same time, you kind of need somebody to go first. And so if the EU's been sitting around waiting for YouTube to do something or Apple Podcasts to do something or Spotify to do something, at a certain point, they're not doing anything. Like, I guess you kind of have to force their hand a little bit. It's just not it's not the first tool I'd pull out of my toolbox to do it. That's all I'm saying.
If you pay attention to like Listen Notes and Podcast Index and even Spotify, all three are pretty aggressive about, hey, we don't like this podcast. And so every once in a while we get somebody who's like, hey, I submitted my podcast and it didn't go through. And we look and we're like, yeah, it's obviously you're just trying to upload songs and get them into Spotify. This is not legit. And Spotify will notify us. We're not accepting that. That sounds like fake AI content.
Yeah.
Listen Notes and I think Podcast Index are both very strong on. They're trying to catch kind of scammy content and especially AI content. I think that's a pretty healthy spot because we get a signal back. Hey, we've identified we don't like it. And Buzzsprout can look and go, oh yeah, 2 of the 3 already don't like it. Yeah, it's a pretty good sign. Like there is something off about this podcast. And the bad guys are not going to disclose themselves. It's really the people who are dealing with it, or the people in the Facebook group right now who are all like, hey, I use an auto leveler that I found. Does that count as AI? Yeah. And I don't want to cause a bunch of anxiety among somebody who's really just trying to share their voice with the world. And they're using like the smallest bit of automation just so that they can get their podcast out once a week. And now they're hearing, hey, baby, you got to watch. Baby.
That's a weird podcast you're listening to, Alvin.
Hey, you have to disclose that. You have to disclose that. I don't think it's a big deal for them.
Well, and if they do want to disclose it, like if they are using AI in the capacity where they are changing things, they are, using those generated voices and stuff like that, which is understandable. There's plenty of people that do it in a very tasteful manner. You don't have to apply those changes. You don't have to apply disclosure to any episodes that were made before August 2nd. So
if you snuck any AI fake stuff out there before August 2nd, you're good to go.
You're in the clear.
Yeah. And just a note to anybody who creates podcasts who's listening to this, don't pull out all the flubbed words and don't use overdub and all these technologies to fix all let it be real. I think as a listener, I'd never mind it. And when I have conversations in real life, people mess up their words. They say something and they're like, actually, like now that I'm saying that out loud, I want to say it differently. And they'll rephrase it. And I love it when podcasts have stuff like that in it because that's why I'm listening. I want to have this connection. I want it to feel like it's authentic. And so don't make it perfect anyway. Like, let it roll.
Yeah, baby. Let it roll.
Now you have to leave in my.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
I know what I'm doing. All right, guys, let's get into some fan mail. First up, we have a message from Derek from Intentional Teaching. And he says, I'm listening to your quick cast about the challenges of video podcasting, and you're naming all the reasons I never want to do it. So much extra work from beginning to end and a much bigger ask for guests.
I'm 100% convinced of 2 things that seem opposite, and I'll try to connect the dots.
Okay.
One, there are a lot more hoops to jump through in the video podcasting world, but those hoops are like getting smaller. The hoops are going away. I don't know what the analogy is.
The hoops are getting bigger and easier to jump through.
There you go.
Opposite.
So I don't think like a year from now or 2 years from now, it's going to be nearly as hard to do video as it is today. Cameras are getting cheaper. There's new ways to like use your phone as a camera. Editing software is getting better. Like it's going to get easier and easier and easier. So there's that. And then there's also audio is awesome. And you don't ever have to do video regardless of how easy it is. regardless of if there's like a tiny drone that just follows your whole day around and then edits into a beautiful, concise episode and automatically publishes on your behalf. You still don't have to do that if you don't want to. There's still a wonderful world of audio that will always have a time and place in this world, regardless of whether like the zeitgeist says it's popular right now or it's on a decline right now or whatever. There will always be some level of audience for that. And we'll go through different cycles there. So I don't know how we balance both of those things other than to say, I think it's just an individual decision. Like I think most people, the vast majority of people who podcast because they like it, they enjoy it, they get something out of it. We always say like, what's your why? Because that's like the most interesting question for podcasters because we all have our own unique why, right? Like you never get the same answer. Well, you oftentimes get the same answers because I want to get rich, I want to make money. And we always say, well, that's the only wrong answer to do podcasting.
Wait, that's why I did it.
Any other answer is typically fine. Yeah. And Jordan, you are in the small minority who said, I want to make money and then actually accomplish that. But it's like the same thing of like, why do you play the lottery? Because I want to win the lottery. Well, a very few number of people are actually going to actually win that lottery. Right. But if you just play the lottery because I like picking numbers every week, that's a blast. Then keep playing the lottery.
Well, you're saying, yeah, I need to find my why for playing the lottery.
Right.
I do like that it's Derek from Intentional Teaching. Like he's being intentional. I've thought about it. I've considered video, the pros and the cons. And I say the cons are everything I don't want to do. And the pros are all there for audio. It's problem solved. And our goal will be to make both audio and video easier every day for you. And at some point, if that switches, you might switch. And I've already seen a few people who've said, I tried video for a period. It didn't really land for me. I didn't love it. I'm going back to audio. And I would not be surprised if we saw a bit of a resurgence in a few years when everyone's like, yeah, I think just doing nonstop vertical video just burned me out. I really just want to have a 2-hour chat type podcast.
Yeah.
And next up, we have a voicemail message from Matthew from Girl Dad Nation.
Hey, Buzzcast. This is Matthew from Girl Dad Nation. I love the episode about how to script a podcast. It got me thinking about my time doing some stand-up comedy. I would do open mic nights, and I realized that whenever I stuck too close to the script and tried to get the words exact, I could never get the flow right. But when I just had an outline, I knew what the premise was, and I knew where I was going with the punchline, then I could flow into it, feed off of the energy of the room, and deliver a much better performance. I think the same is with podcasting, knowing the key points that you're trying to hit, and just using the energy of the podcast to guide where the discussion goes. That is going to deliver a much better experience.
Okay. Wait. That was so tight, so concise, so well spoken. I have to ask, Matthew, was that scripted?
I know it sounded
Where's
so good.
the AI disclosure, Matthew? That's what I want to know.
He delivered it beautifully.
I know. He has
But
such a good speaking voice.
He does. And that resonates with me 100%. I hate public speaking in general. I love podcasting. I'm pretty comfortable podcasting. I hate looking out in the audience though and like trying to figure out am my points landing with people and stuff, and it totally throws me off kilter. I hate that. And so I thought the solution to that was to script it completely and then memorize it and then just deliver it flat. And I'm no good at that either. So yeah, I think the outline works better. And then if you mess up, like you have no choice. You just got to go with the flow. Like when you're live, we mess up all the time. Jordan makes us sound better than we actually sound in real life. But I agree.
Make me sound better.
I think outlines are way easier to riff off of.
Yeah. All right. And then we have a message from Sarah from Wish I'd Known Then. And Sarah says, thanks for the episode about scripts. It gave me some great ideas. We've always shared questions with our guests, but now I'm going to include some details about the why behind the questions, which I think is such a great idea. And she also says, I'm listening on a road trip through Wyoming. Highly recommend Yellowstone and Bighorn National Parks. Kevin, you just went to Wyoming not that long ago, right?
Yeah, we were out there last year. It is beautiful. I will say, if you go on that trip, and I highly recommend you do, preload some podcasts, download them ahead of time, because cell phone coverage in Yellowstone is poor.
Not good.
Not good.
My Yellowstone recommendation is go to Yellowstone and do not stay in Yellowstone.
Yeah, you gave me that recommendation. It was a good one.
All the like places to stay in Yellowstone, it felt like very 1990s Disney vibe, where it's like they have you captive and they know you're going to spend $14 for the worst chicken nuggets you've ever eaten.
Oh,
and I was like, it's just like the accommodations aren't great. And it was like day 3. I was like talking to my wife. I was like, I have to get some real food. Like we can't keep eating this food. And so we load up. We drove an hour and 15 minutes out of the park to the nearest town, went into some barbecue place and just loaded up on barbecue. And I was like, this trip just got so much better. We're going to load up on a bunch of food. We're taking it back in because I can't do any more of these chicken tenders.
You know what's crazy is I live so close to Yellowstone, I could like sneeze on it, and I've never been.
Oh, you would love it.
Really?
You would absolutely love it.
I'm a little bit scared of nature, and especially like volcanoes are probably like my biggest fear in life.
They don't have volcanoes there. They have geysers.
Yes, they are. Oh, it's too it's too spooky. I can't do it. I'm scared.
It's not lava. It's just boiling hot steaming water.
Yeah, I don't know. I see enough people getting like mauled by animals and like geysers and stuff like that.
None of that's real. It'll all have AI disclosures soon.
Jordan, have you ever
totally
seen
safe.
like the Bellagio Hotel in Vegas with like the water fountain shooting off?
Yeah.
It's like that, except that it's like, you know where it's going to be. It's natural and it's boiling hot. Like, don't jump in there and you're good to go. And it is so beautiful. It's so amazing.
I'm always scared I'm gonna be like one of those people, like it's gonna be like a cartoonish, like I'll be walking on the trail and then I just like trip and somehow like fall into it or something. Like that's where my brain goes.
There's like 7 ladders. There's all this stuff like blocking you from getting fences.
Yeah.
Blocking you from going. You're not gonna accidentally fall into a geyser.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for writing in. And until next time, thanks for listening and keep podcasting. Oh gosh. So my kids started school this week. Well, actually, my youngest will be starting school tomorrow. But what's really crazy is we got an email from the school district that my daughter's school flooded, and so she won't be going there anymore.
Like a pipe burst or something?
No, it's the guy. It's the guy dug the hole.
The guy dug the hole.
The guy dug the hole and broke the pipe.
That was the guy. I should just go look. No.
Oh my gosh, he hit the water main.
Are schools just like stressful? Are they just stressful? So I had her going to charter school, which is like, I mean, it's an art school. And so like no one's very organized and it's like a little chaotic. And so I was like, you know what? Enough of that chaos. I'm going to put her in the public school that's just like down the street from our house. And that's going to be so much simpler, easy peasy, great year. And then we got an email that apparently there was like a new roof put on this school over the summer, but they didn't actually put it on correctly. Like there were actually like big holes in the roof that they didn't seal up.
Yeah,
and we
had
had
a common problem with roofs.
Yeah, and we had this like freak storm, and the whole school, like they posted videos of it. There was like just water pouring from the ceiling down into the rooms on like all the floors. And so they were like, well, sorry, the kids can't go to school. And so now she's in like a flex space, like across town. And we went and saw it. And it's like each classroom is like a cubicle where it's open space to all the classrooms in the elementary school.
Is this going to be for the whole year or just for a couple months while they fix the flooding problem?
They said that like thoughts and prayers will be there by Christmas. I was like,
oh my goodness.
Holy cow.
Wait. No. You can't be the person responsible for the problem and then offer the thoughts and prayers. You need to be, other people do that. You say, oh, I have to fix the roof. And other people say, my thoughts are with you, my prayers with you. But you can't be the person who's like, hey, we did collect the money. We did put on the roof. We left a big hole in it. Thoughts and prayers, we're able to fix it.
Whoopsies. Yeah, it was bleak and like everything's like in a circle. So they put the library in the center. Like you walk into this big building and they put the library in the center and all the bookshelves just make up the library. Like they did like a circle. And then they have these big cubicles that each fit like 20 kids, like just lined in a circle around this weird circular library thing. It is, it's a strange setup. And I've had to tell Emmy, like, this is not what public schools normally like.
I really don't understand stuff like this sometimes. I don't like claim to understand the extent of the damage of how much water could come through like holes that nobody noticed until the storm came. But it just sounds like setting up a whole nother school miles away has got to be harder than like, can we not just delay school for a couple weeks while we put some, I don't know, tarps over the holes vacuum out the water, dry the space, and move on with life.
I literally I saw the videos of it. The walls were crumbling. It was it was extensive damage that they didn't notice. Like, I don't think anyone was in the building for weeks, and then they saw it.
Wait. So they replaced the roof during the summer. Nobody went back in, and it just kind of sat there for weeks as slow leaks filled up and ruined the whole building. And then somebody went in, they're like, can't wait for school next week. And they went, oh no, there's no walls here.
Basically, yes. Or ceilings. I'm laughing. It's terrible, but it was just like, holy crap, this has been a week.
What's crazy, Jordan, is that right now Idaho has wildfires.
Yes.
And multiple stories of freak flooding at the
Everyone
same time.
is praying for rain in Idaho right now.
And also trying to fix their roof and fill up the water mains guys are digging up. Like, these have to be connected problems somehow.
Get me out of here. I don't know. There's a curse bestowed upon the state.
All right. Well, sorry to hear about that. Thoughts and prayers.
Thank you.
And let us know how it goes.